Guys, I'm back with another video, and this is gonna be how I lost my dog, which I had two dogs until she died, and her name was Sadie, and my other dog name is Bruno, and Sadie is a dachshund mixed with a Yorkie, so she was like real small, and Bruno is a pit, and I'm trying to see where should I start. I guess I'll start from the beginning when I first got her. My mama was in Greensboro with my cousin, and me and my grandma was at home, looking through the newspaper, and she saw that in the newspaper, they have like listing for dogs and stuff like that. She saw that this woman had dogs for sale or whatever, and so she called my mama, was like, well, she only has a girl dog, which we never had a girl dog. So Sadie was our first girl dog, and she called my mama and asked, did she want it? So basically, it was supposed to be my mama's dog. But as soon as I got her, we picked her up that night. She was my dog. And so through the years, that became it was basically my daughter, my best friend. Most people might think it's crazy, but most people really care for their dogs like their own child and stuff like that. So that's what I did. That was like my child. She had clothes. She had little booties and all that. So over the years, we just came close. Like she she didn't want to go anywhere with anybody else but me. She didn't want me to leave the house without her. So she basically came everywhere I went. And so we get to the day of my birthday, which was January 24th. We had got back from breakfast because we went to breakfast for my birthday at IHOP, and when we got back, my stepdad had took my both of the dogs for a walk. Usually he takes them for a walk, so I didn't really mind anything. And then he came in and was like, a dog just attacked Sadie, and I'm like, huh? And I just saw she ran in a kennel. And so I grabbed her, and I'm like, oh, she okay. She ain't whining or nothing. So I think she okay. And stuff like that. She just shook, whatever, and she was shaking. And so I tried to give her a treat. She wouldn't eat it. But I already knew she wasn't going to eat it because she was scared, whatever. And so I picked her up again, and I looked. I'm like, she's not bleeding, so I don't think nothing's like really wrong with her and stuff like that. So we went back outside, and the dog was like coming in our yard. So I grabbed the broom to make sure he wasn't trying to come attack me and stuff. So we went out there, and it looks like it was a husky mixed with a German Shepherd. And so like my stepdad said, like usually dogs will like sniff each other's butts to get to know each other. So that's what he thought the dog was gonna do, but like grabbed her by her sides and start like shaking her in his mouth like this and stuff like that. So he like had to kick the dog for the dog to get off my dog. And so what else? So when I got back to the house, I picked her up, and I told y'all that. And then when I got back inside from seeing the other dog, I picked her up again, and I just saw blood on my hands. So I washed my hands, and like I had to call like 3 different veterinary hospitals to see if I could bring her or not and stuff. So we went to the one in Lake Valley, and there was like, they had to shave her side to see where it was bleeding at and how bad it was. But the hole wasn't even big. Like, it wasn't even, it would look like just a little dot. That's all it looked like. But I didn't know it could cause so much damage or whatever. So we thought everything was going to be okay. And so when the veterinarian came in, she was like, the dog had rip in between her rib cage and through her chest cavity, so she might not be able to breathe. And they had 2 options, which was put a patch on it to see if um to make sure the fluid and stuff doesn't doesn't get backed up into her lungs and stuff like that. And then the other option was surgery. But the first option was like $500, which you have to pay that like right then and there, which I didn't have. And because we're not rich, so I didn't have it, you know. And the second option was like $2,000 for the surgery, which I didn't have either. So they just put a vest on her, and they was like, well, hopefully she'll be okay with this vest on because it's applying pressure to it and stuff like that. So that night, she I was just gonna let her sleep in the living room because I had my godson with me, which he sleeps in my bed with me and he sleeps well, and I didn't want him to kick her or whatever. But she didn't want to sleep in the living room. She wanted to sleep in my bed, so I sleep in the room with me. She slept under the bed. She didn't sleep on my bed. And so I would like get up in the middle of the night and check on her and stuff like that, like to make sure she's okay. And like she would like, she couldn't get comfortable and stuff. So I gave her like one of my old pillows so she can lay on. She laid on that. She went to sleep for a little bit. And so the next day we had got up and I had took her in the kitchen. She had drunk some water and she had just collapsed. And so I caught my mama crying and I was like, I don't think Sadie's gonna live and stuff like that. And she was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, she just collapsed on the floor. And then she gets back up. So I'm like, okay, she got back up and she wagging her tail and stuff every time I talk to her and stuff like that. So I'm like, well, maybe it is okay. Maybe. So they had gave her like pain medicine. I'm like, well, my mama said, well, maybe she's in pain. We could just give her one of her pain pills and stuff like that. But it wasn't the case. And so, when we had took her to the vet, well, we was going to take her to the vet again. And my mama had called the vet and was like, do y'all do like payment plans? And I was like, no, we don't do any payment plans. But if they did payment plans, we could have did it. But we didn't have like $3,000 right then and there. And so the owner's dog that did it, we went down to, well, I skipped the whole part, but let me go back to the back part. When we got back from the vet, and we was like, well, maybe if we just give her her medicine and, like, comfort her, because at the vet, they probably wouldn't, like, if she would have stayed at the vet, she would have probably been in the kennel and stuff. So we had just brought her home. It was like, well, maybe we'll give her Gatorade and stuff like that to keep her hydrated. And so we had put her in the kennel we had put her and Bruno in the kennel to go to my grandma's house for a minute. And when we to get something to eat and go to my grandma's house. And so I had already had it in my mind. I'm like, something just popped up in my mind. Like, when I get home, she's going to be gone and stuff like that. Like, she was going to be dead and stuff like that. So when we got home, I thought she was dead at first, but she had looked at me like one last time and closed her eyes. And that's when she died. And so I caught my mama crying. And she was like, I know. And then I had to call my grandma. And stuff like that. And so she was in a kennel. And I had to take the other dog out. Like, Bruno was like licking her head to make sure, like, to try to wake her up and stuff like that. And then we went to my grandma's house to get the shovel so we could put her in the backyard. And so she had 5 puppies, and we had one. We got one. I said we had one. We got one, which his name is Prince, and it's at my grandma's house. My grandma's sister-in-law got one, which is Elijah. My brother's brother got one, which is he had got 2, and the other one we sold, whatever. But so we had brung Prince down here so he could see her one last time. and he was like moving her, like trying to wake her up and stuff like that. And he was started whining and stuff. And so when we put her in the ground and stuff, we went down to the man's house, the owner, and the owner of the other dog. We went down to his house, and he was like, I only have one dog, and that's a pit. And then my stepdad went back there again and was like, "That who dog is that then?" He was like, "Oh yeah, I got two dogs." And so when we told him what happened, he was like, "Oh, that's my brother's dog." And I don't think he was off the leash yesterday. So he called his brother. And so they speak Spanish. I mean, that's Spanish. Spanish. And he was talking to him. But I can understand a little bit of Spanish. So when he was like, was the dog off the leash? And the brother was like, "Yeah, I had to put him back on the leash yesterday." So when he got off the phone, he was like, "Yeah, my brother said the dog was off the leash and stuff like that." And I had called animal control. And what's wrong, Bruni? Sorry, y'all. My other dog's in here. It's okay, Bruni. But I had called animal control, and animal control had went down there, and we had just got through talking to him, and they wouldn't come to the door. And so he had charged them because the dogs didn't have any papers and stuff like that. And like stuff like that. We were just trying to tell them what happened, and they wasn't like trying to listen and stuff like that. And so I'm gonna tell you how the other dogs are acting. Like the Bruno, he was like whining. He tried to act like her now. Like he tries to get up on my shoulder knowing he's like almost 100 pounds. No, he can't get up on my shoulder, but he tries to do that. Like he tries to like comfort me and stuff and all that. And Prince, my grandma said he's just stopped barking and stuff like that for like a couple days, but now he back. And my stepdad has saw my grandma's sister-in-law, and she said Elijah stopped eating for a long time. Been eating for like 3 days, and then he just started back eating. So yeah, that's how I lost my dog. And I plan on getting another dog, but I know it ain't a dog going to replace her. And I don't know. It's really sad, but, things happen for a reason. And God had a plan for her, and his plan was to be up there with him, because they all say all dogs go to heaven and stuff like that. So that's all. I was just wanting to tell y'all how I lost my dog. And now I only have one dog, and that's Bruno, which I can show you him now if he let me. Can I Bruno? Come here, big boy. Don't mind my bed, you guys, because it's like not made up, but don't mind it. And that's all I wanted to tell y'all. Bye.